and they literally sort of put us through our paces. So we were doing body carries, higher flips, sprint, leopard crawl across the beach. Being there, I had that feeling where you just do not want to move. Everything is screaming at you to just give up. It's all very well being able to run a 4-minute kilometre, but then you've then got to push a sled that's 103 kilos.
Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast. In this week's episode, I sat down and spoke with Ellen Sinclair. Now, I've had a lot of runners on the podcast recently, from ultra running to strength and conditioning coaches for running, and we've spoken about a variety of different topics based around running. And this episode is no different, it's just another different aspect of running. So Ellen competes in Hyrox, and that's a fitness challenge where you'll compete 8 kilometers of running with 8 different strength stations, making it a bit more like a cross between running and CrossFit. That's how I would best describe it. We talk everything CrossFit, Hyrox, obstacle course racing, and much more. So definitely keep listening to this podcast. Now, adventure athletes wise, we've had a lot going on. So we've still got some spaces left in our new bespoke programming. So we've released 5 slots for January. So if you want to be considered for one of those 5 slots, let us know, send us a DM, and I'll set up a consultation with you. On top of that, we've also got our sports massages still going, and we've got gift cards ready for Christmas. But for now, enjoy the podcast. So, question number 1 is going to be, which is better for overall training, CrossFit or Hyrox?
Oh, that's a savage one.
He's just doing it to wind people.
I was going to say, is he an anti-CrossFitter? I don't know, I'd probably still say CrossFit, to be fair, because you get the strength side of it, which is important for sort of overall aspects of health, because you can sort of go out and redline yourself doing all the cardio stuff for Hyrox, sort of like your skiing, your ergs and your sort of things like that, but you're always going to need sort of just for life, if you like, you're going to need your strength as you start to get older. Everyone's sort of banging on these days about kind of muscular strength and keeping that into your later ages. We've got 60-70-year-olds doing CrossFit, and they're absolutely, they might be having to scale some things because they can't do box jumps, or they can't do loads of ring gymnastics, but they're still getting out there and doing it every day. So I'd still say CrossFit is the way to go.
Fair enough. For those that are listening, can you describe what CrossFit is and what Hyrox is? Because I know some of my listeners are just going to be completely oblivious. I've only just learned what Hyrox is from him writing that question down. So
Hyrox is a functional fitness competition. Originated in Germany in 2017. And it's basically, it's an 8k running, and then you've got 8 stations. So you run a k, and then you've got a station, run a k, run a station. Your stations, you've got a 1k ski, then you go into a 50-metre sled push, into a 50-metre sled pull, into 80-metre burpee broad jumps. Then you've got a kilometre row, then you've got 200-metre farmer carry, 100-metre lunge, into either 75 or 100 wall balls, depending if you're what division you are, if you're pro or women or men. So it's always stayed that same as Hyrox. So it's primarily is a running competition kind of race. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the stations, which you do need a sort of obviously just strength to be able to move the sleds, things like that. But there's nothing technical involved in it. So anyone can do it. It's just being able to still run that kilometre after every station when your legs are jelly, when your lungs are giving out, and you've still got to keep going because it's not over till you hit that finish line. So that's kind of Hyrox, and it's growing. You can go abroad and do it. It's massive in the US, Europe, all over. There's a competition coming up, although it'll be after potentially when this podcast comes out, in London with 12,000 athletes competing, and it's only getting bigger. And then the CrossFit is sort of more of your sort of strength functional, I suppose, training. So a lot of it's sort of it's shorter, sharper, I'd say. So it tends to be like a 10-minute WOD or a 20-minute AMRAP or a 20, and it would be a lot of your gymnastics skills. So you might be doing pull-ups, ring rows, You might incorporate sort of box jumps in there. There'll be a lot of barbell work, your deadlifts, your squats, bench press, a lot of things like that. So CrossFit's more, I suppose, like your training aspect, and then Hyrox is an event you can race to compete in, and obviously compete in age group and get quicker and higher and whatever your goals are, really.
Yeah. So I've done a little bit of CrossFit, never done any Hyrox, and then you've just taken me through a bit of a brutal workout, which we spent the last 20 minutes doing. So if I seem out of breath on the podcast, you can thank Ellen for that. So the next question that was left for you is, what's the best gym you've been to?
Ooh.
Again, he's just trying to wind up some controversy here.
There's two. I'm gonna say two. I'm gonna be cheeky and take two. The main one I'd have to say is my home gym, as I call it, my CrossFit gym. It's EDC in Alton, and I went to their gym originally through Hyrox. It was a friend of mine met the owner actually doing Hyrox at a race, and they got chatting because they're ex-military, and sort of one thing led to another, and he said, I'll bring my team down for training. So he's like, all right, yeah, fine, sure. So we all went down for training, sort of did a Hyrox workout. I was checking out the gym at the same time as we were doing this workout, and I was like, this is a bit of me. Just the people, it's the community I think makes the gym, I have to say. And that's why I tend to go to the gyms I do, is because it's the people, the community. Because at the end of the day, when you're sort of, out for the count on the floor because they're after a really hard workout, you need that that person to come up and say, I've been watching you, you inspire me, or sort of meeting up for coffee. You make friendships through your workouts. So yeah, it has to be EDC as the top one. But yeah, there's a gym in Essex that I do go to, VIP HQ. And again, it's the people that I go to. It's about an hour and a half away for me. But it's worth it for the people.
Yeah. And then the last one he's got, and this is, I've had a bit of a ultra running phase,
right?
Both like for me personally, and that's been reflected on the podcast. We've had lots of ultra runners coming on, and just runners in general. And he said, would you consider doing ultras?
I would. It's something I've looked at doing. More suppose I've looked at like the triathlons, and the ironmans, which it's not obviously an ultra, but I'd sort of always put it in the same bracket as, because it's still a lot of miles. One day I may well get out on the ultra scene. It's something I would look at doing, definitely, but right now it's the shorter, sharper indoor events. I've turned into a gym rat over the years. But yeah, no, I do wanna get back out and sort of do the longer races.
Yeah. Can you give us a bit of a background on your training then, because it seems to have all come about pretty quickly over the past few years?
Yeah, so originally I started out, it was at Boot Camp UK. So they do, 3 times a week normally. They'll meet on a field. It's all ex-military run. So they'll meet on a field and you just do like body weight exercises. And I saw them sort of when I was walking the dog one day, and it was sort of this typical kind of army guy with camouflage trousers shouting at everyone to do things faster and do things, and most people probably would have walked away. I looked at that and thought, that could be a bit of me. So I went away and sort of tried to do, sort of taught myself online sort of how to do proper press-ups and squats and sit-ups, because I'd never done anything like that before. I'd only really kind of run. I sort of did the couch 5Ks and the 5 to 10s, kind of like a lot of people maybe do. And then I started off doing boot camp, and then that started getting addictive. So I'd do sort of once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. Then I looked at going to another venue because they do the opposite night. So I could then do 4 nights, 5 nights, 6 nights a week. So I did that for a couple of years maybe. And I was just doing all this training, and people used to keep saying to me, and they'd say, what are you training for? Sort of, why are you putting all these hours in for for what? And I just said, well, it's just, that's what I like to do, like keeps me out, you know, sort of you'll go down the pub on a Friday night and drink, I'll go down the gym and do 2 hours, you know, and sort of things like that. It's just what I want to do. And then I sort of started learning about, because I didn't know what Hyrox was, what sort of even OCR races. I sort of got into obstacle course racing. I'd never done anything like that, and sort of when I'd started joining these boot camps and other things, you get chatting with people and they'd say, well, I'm going to do a Tough Mudder in 3 months' time, or I'm going to do a nuts challenge, or I'm going to do you want to join me? So I kind of got into the scene that way, by kind of doing bits and bobs. And then as I started doing that, I then met other people who would then say, oh, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And then it was through OCR that I then met the team that I train with, Epic Fitness. And they're both, well, it was sort of just the 3 of them, and they did a lot of OCR stuff. So I sort of started doing it with them. And then it was them that kind of brought in ideas of like the Hyrox, or you've now got Spartan Deca, which is another sort of similar race, and sort of other events that pop up and out. And they'd just say, oh, do you want to do this with us? And I'd go, yeah, all right, let's go. Like, I was like, I don't really find out what these things are. I just say yes, find out what they are on the day. Like, you know, it's a bit of a steep learning curve sometimes. But yeah, then I kind of, and then now I've got people like friends and that I can just say, oh, I've seen this event on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Do you want to jump in? And I said, a lot of them, they say I'm a bad influence, because I'll literally just message and go, do you want to do this? And they'll literally look and go 5 seconds later and go, yeah, go on, what can it be? And I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I don't tend to tell them what it is either. I just go, it's a really cool event, you'll have fun, just come along. They come along, and it turns out to be I did one, what was it, a couple of months ago, a 12-hour workout through the night, so it's 8 till 8, every hour on the hour, a new workout. And I told my friend this, and she was like, yeah, I'll be fine, what's the worst thing that can happen? And then about halfway through, she's like, I absolutely hate you right now. Towards the end, she was like, we were back like having an absolute laugh. But, you know, when you're doing burpees at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, and going into 1 rep max deadlifts and bench press, I don't know if she was my best mate then, but we're definitely, we're good mates again now. But yeah, it's all fun and games now. I just try and do what I can, and it's the next crazy challenge. My name's signed up, like, anything and everything.
Yeah. So would you say you're getting quite competitive at it now? Are you looking at like competing it as a pro at all?
Yeah, for the Hyrox, I did, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago now. I did a pro, so that's in Hyrox, so that's men's weights effectively. It's the same distances, but it's just heavier. And then I did it, and I would definitely do another one. But I'm still not done with my open time, which is the women's weights. I still want to get that sort of down. I finished, what was it, last season, 6th in my age cat in the last race that I did. So I'm hoping I can get that further down, but it's as I'm getting quicker, so is everyone else. So it's all about kind of where you can squeeze those extra 5-10 seconds on your runs or your stations. But yeah, no, I'd like to think I'm getting more competitive. I used to do it for a bit of a laugh, but now I'm starting to look at my splits and look at, you know, my individual times and go, I could get this down, I could get that down, and sort of work with my coach in that sense as well, to kind of do more compromised running so that my legs can still run, even though they feel like jelly, I can still keep going.
Yeah. What does your training like generally look like? Is it very much when you're building up for a competition, is it you're just doing the exercises for the competition, or is there a lot more to it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of sort of like either running sessions, so whether that's speed intervals, or sort of like K repeats, or just like long running. I do a sort of like a lot of zone 2, normally once a week, just to do like maybe 15 miles, say, but literally keep that heart rate real low to build that engine, because you need a good engine for doing like a Hyrox, because I think your average time's 1 hour 30. So you need to know that your engine's there so you can go for that length of time. And then the other sessions will be made up, so a lot of it might be sort of like AMRAPs or WODs. It'll be sort of like, I've done pyramids where you'll sort of do like 50 calorie ski into 50 metre sledge push, then you do 40, 40, 30, 30, 20, 20, 10, 10, and then you can always go back up that pyramid. And then I might do that repeat, so I do it with like a say the ski and the sled, and then I might do assault bike calories and burpee broad jumps, and then I might do the rowing with the sort of farmer's carry. So a lot of it is doing those Hyrox movements, because it's on paper exactly what you need to do. So you do those movements, but you also need to then train like strength side of it as well. Or like with the sleds, you'll necessarily train that. You'll do lighter sleds, but for like more reps, say, rather than sticking a load of weight on it and just doing a 10-metre sled push, you might as well sort of do half weight of race weight, say, and then but push it for like faster and that, just to get your sort of muscles used to aching but still being able to do it.
Yeah. I definitely struggled in the workout you just put me through. That's identified a massive weakness in my training. I haven't done anything like that in 4 years, so maybe 3 years, but that was brutal. Just 45 seconds work doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're doing goblet squats and then bent over row and then some sit-ups and burpees, oh my god, I was dead.
See, I love a burpee. Like, everyone always tells me that I'm like, there's something not right, but I love it. If you give me a workout opportunity, I will throw a burpee in there. Like, it's got to be done.
It's not an appealing exercise, is it?
See, I like it. I've always liked it. I don't know why. In lockdown, I did the 3,000 challenge. You do 100 burpees a day. And I did that for, the month of May, so 30 odd days. So I think I did 31 just because it's got 31 days. But yeah, and I loved it. I got my time down from, I think, was it 7 minutes the first day. And I was like, I'm not doing this, can't carry on. And then I was like, no, I've got to do it. And I got it down to, I think, was it sub 4 minutes, I think, to do the 100. But that was, I mean, if you got me to do it again now, I don't know, but it's addictive. I do like a burpee.
I was going to say, I did, I read a book, Living with a Seal. Have you read it at all?
I've not read that, no.
So it's about David Goggins.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur in America basically hired him as a personal trainer for a month.
Right.
And was like, yeah, come live with me. Like, I love what you're doing. I want to be like a ultra athlete and stuff. Like, come live with me and be my trainer for a month. And he wrote a book about the experience, and he detailed every single workout that was in there. So during lockdown, I went through that all.
Nice.
And like just copied all the workouts. And like one of the first things on there is timed burpees for 100. And it's like, like if you get less than 10 minutes, then like happy with that.
Yeah.
Under 11 minutes is like acceptable, and then anything over like 12 minutes is just like doesn't count, do it again. And the first time I did it, I got it under the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But like just under the 10 minutes. And that killed me. So doing it like first time under 7 minutes and getting it then under 4 minutes.
I think my key was that I used to literally roll out of bed and do 100 burpees before I even knew what was going on. I think that was the best way to do it. Whereas if you get up and think about it, it's like, nah.
Oh, that's insane. Under 4 minutes. Like, if anyone's listening and wants to try 100 burpees in under 4 minutes, like, let me know if you do. You can come on the podcast, because that's insane. Fair play. What is it about burpees that you love so much? Like, because people don't understand that. Like, burpees are hard.
I really don't. I don't know. I think I just started doing them as part of boot camp, because, like I say, before boot camp, I'd never done anything. I'd literally just used to like run around a field. I don't even know. There's something about them. I just quite liked them, and I just thought actually I don't know if it's because I'm quite small. I know a lot of taller athletes absolutely hate it in Hyrox, because of course they've got a long way to go down. Whereas me, I'm only 5'4", so I don't know if that makes a difference, but I've just always liked them. I mean, I've even got a tattoo on my forearm. My first tattoo is a thing of a burpee, just because I was like, I want my tattoo to be fitness related, so it's going to be a burpee. So I was like, so I have to love them now, because it's now on my forearm forever. So, but no, I don't know what it is. There's something about it just makes me, I don't know, I just like them.
Fair enough. So burpee's your favourite exercise, I think. It's clear to say. What's your least favourite exercise?
It's probably the ski erg. It's the first exercise in the Hyrox. I've got a love-hate relationship with it, because I have to do a kilometre on it, so I've managed to get an acceptable time on it, so I've just kind of worked with that and gone, yeah, that'll do, I'll gain time elsewhere. I think it's just, again, it's not to be biased, but I think the ergs are more your heavier, taller athletes, just to get that reach. I mean, you can, obviously everyone can do the erg. I've known athletes similar stature to me and get abs, they're powerhouses on it. I've just obviously not quite got the knack of that yet. But yeah, ski erg's got to be the one that, but I get it done first, get it out of the way, and then it's the favourite stuff to come, so.
Yeah. Along similar lines to that then, what's been the favourite event that you've ever been to? Is it going to be like a CrossFit event, a Hyrox, OCR?
Oh, that's tough. I'd say it's probably my favourite, and probably the most I got out of it was when I went to Who's Dares Gyms down in Bournemouth. They did a workshop sort of thing with the Royal Marines. So it was a 4-hour sort of workout effectively. And they had 120 years of service, I think, between the 6 of them, I think there were. And they literally sort of put us through our paces. So we were doing sort of military drills and sort of all these things like that. We were doing sort of body carries. We were doing tyre flips. We were doing sort of sprints, and sort of, they'd shout like down, down. You had to sort of like leopard crawl across the beach. And then they'd shout up, and you had to sprint as fast as possible to like the sort of safe area, and sort of all like this. And I mean, at the time it was absolutely brutal, sort of thing, but they stopped us at the end, and we all just stood sort of in a line of, I think there's about 20 of us or so, and we were all stood in formation, and we were just looking out to the sea, and they got us all to just shut our eyes and just sort of say, think about why you're here. Think about why you paid money for us to basically shout at you and make you do all this stuff. He was like, think about your why. Why are you doing whatever it is you're doing? And it was sort of, in that moment, it took you back to thinking, why do I do, sort of all this? And like, I think now when I face, sort of either anything in an event or even in life, and you sort of think, can I get through this? Can I overcome this? That's what I go back to. I go back to standing on that beach with all your sort of, your other like comrades, I suppose, thinking about my why. And that's kind of, I suppose, what I go back to. So I'd have to say it's probably my favourite event, because that's probably what I've taken the most away from something like that. It was just sort of an amazing experience to kind of be put through, because obviously it's not something you can do every day. You sort of get instructed by sort of Royal Marine, sort of people. So no, it was amazing to sort of be part of that for 4 hours.
Yeah. What did you come up with when they asked that? Like, what is your why for doing all of this? Because it's a lot to put yourself through, really,
Yeah, no, it is. I think it was just kind of, it's kind of become part of me, I suppose. So my reason for why is just, it's kind of my purpose. Like, it's kind of, I put myself through it because it's kind of, because I can do it, sort of thing. Because I mean, there'll come a day where maybe I can't do what, everything that I'm doing because of either, sort of some sort of physical barrier or mental barrier or anything like that. So I think it's kind of my why is that I'm able to do all of this. So it's kind of, I should push that potential, because it's kind of, it's all right when you're in the comfortable zone, you can sit there and be like, oh, I'm amazing, I can do all this, big fish, little pond. But it's kind of my why for doing, for doing new things, new events, again, coming back to the question of would I ever do an ultra, I've never kind of thought about it. But instead of being that kind of big fish in a little pond in Hyrox and things that I've done a lot of and I'm kind of comfortable with, maybe I should be that little fish in a big pond and jump into like an ultra marathon or an Ironman or things like that. It's kind of, I sort of, my why is kind of, well, I've done this, checked it off, I've completed what I've wanted to do. What's the next thing, kind of thing? Like, it's always looking for, that next thing to do, to challenge myself, to push myself. It's kind of, why are you here? It's because it challenges you. Like, you need that challenge to push you.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to kind of get stuck in your little ruts, which, some people are quite happy in their little comfortable area, but I'm always like, well, now I'm bored, like I wanna do something else.
How far do you think you're going to push it then? Because you've got into all these events, and like you said, you'll look at doing an ultra and Ironman, something along those lines. Like, how far do you think you could go?
I have no idea. It depends on the people that's around me as well, because the more events I do, the more they'll then tell me about events and that they're doing, or that their friends of friends are doing, and then that's how I get into it, and kind of then I go down their line and go, and you know, like I'm always a great one for Instagram. I'll shoot people a message and go, oh, I've seen you've done this race, what was it like, how can I get into it, which is great. Like, it's great for networking like that. But yeah, I think, I mean, as I say, Ironman Ultra is probably definitely on the horizon, and then from there, who knows, if I get into that community, they might then go, oh, you could do this race. That, you know, I've seen, I can't remember what company it is, but they do a lot of kind of your ultra races, and it's abroad, and I mean, you see some of the photos from the places that they're doing these, you know, incredibly long, you know, sort of runs, and I'm thinking, yeah, but look at the scenery, it can't be so bad, like, you know, when you're doing 50 something miles, but if the scenery's worth it, then so yeah, it really depends where the people take me. I'm very much for one of these. If people, you know, I always say to people, don't tell me about whatever idea, because I will take it, I will run with it, and then you won't see me again. So I'll go where people suggest. So yeah. I'm always taking on new events, and it's good.
If that's like the attitude you've got, I really want to recommend getting into like all these personal challenges. I think that's like the way forward, because there's just so much potential in it. Like the guys I've had on, one of the guys had the fastest known time for running round the Welsh coastal path. And it's like 870 miles, and he did it in like 20 days. Jeez. And then the guy that came on, the record's been broken since, but then the last guest I had on is going to go and try and beat the current record. So yeah, I think he's looking at doing it in like 15 days. Jeez. So that's going to be 50 odd miles a day he's looking at for 2 weeks, pretty much.
Damn.
So there's that, but then you could add on to that, because then there's someone that's recently done the Welsh coastal path, but then obviously where Wales joins onto England, there's no more coast, so then he's run, it's called the Offers Dyke path as well. Right. So he's done them back to back, so you go all across the coastal path and then along the border of England, essentially, so around the whole country. There was someone that I know about that I'm trying to get on the podcast who ran across Australia. And there's just like, but then you don't even have to go that route, because then there's the swimming route. There was Ross Edgley, who swam around Britain, first guy ever to swim around Britain. Also did a triathlon, like pulled a mini for a marathon, and like there's just so many challenges out there that it's like you can do anything.
I know, that's the danger though, that is the danger, because I do look at them and I go, well, I want to do this, and they're like, okay, well, where can you do that? And I'm like, well, I need to fly to this country or to... No, there is, as I say, yeah, like you say, it's endless, the possibilities, like
the guy now running across, first person to run from south to north of Africa, hardest geezer.
Gee, I've not heard of that.
Oh, look him up, he's got a YouTube channel, he like documents everything, he's got an Instagram, like a whole team, like crew with him to film it and everything. Yeah. And he's just like sleeping in his van most of the time, doing it. Doing like, I think he's averaging like 60 kilometres a day every single day, and he's been doing it for like 6 months now. Jeez.
Yeah, no, that is grit. When people say, oh, you know, you've got grit and determination, that's a whole nother level, that. Jeez.
Yeah, there's definitely levels to this, which is why I'm trying to figure out where my limits are. Yeah. And then from doing this podcast, and like, because before you'd look at those people and be like, there's something special about them, because you'd never meet them, and you'd just be like, there's something, like, no matter how much you hear their story and be like, anyone can do this, you don't quite believe it. But then doing the podcast and like meeting people that have done it, and then you are like, you are actually just a person. Like, that's all it is, and we're having just like a normal conversation, and it's like, oh, like, if they can do it, what can I do?
So I could do that. I really don't know where I'll end up. Who knows?
I mean, you're travelling around the world anyway to do your events. Like, how many countries have you been to specifically to do like your races and events?
I've done a couple in Europe. I've been to like Germany, Spain, and then I've flown out to sort of Cyprus doing training camps. I've done sort of events or sort of most of them obviously England. I've flown over to Ireland to do events. I've not done any in Wales, to be fair, so whether I come back to Wales to do an event. And then I've not actually done Scotland either. So potentially Wales and Scotland could be the next ones. But yeah, I do sort of, because a lot of the events, it's you go for, because you can make a nice weekend out of it as well. So a lot of these places, I try to see a bit of the city as well as just the venue and the hotel room and the airport, which tends to be what it is. But yeah, so I'm sort of using it to as a travelling thing really as well, because I've not really done a lot of travelling outside of the UK. So to have the opportunity to race while I'm doing it, it's like, oh, I could just, book a long weekend in Barcelona, and while I'm there just do a few races and then go and do some sightseeing, which is what I'm tend to do. So I'd recommend it. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, sounds it. Just travel, abuse yourself physically, and then relax for a bit. Not just have a holiday.
Well, yeah, because you get the poolside for your recovery. Like, it's brilliant.
So what's next for you then? So you've already done a load of these events.
Yeah.
What's going to be your next event? What's your next sort of year looking like?
So it's a few more Hyroxes I've got in the diary. I want to do another doubles. It's one of my friends that I've managed to get her to do it. I persuaded her to do her first Hyrox last season, I think it was. I was meant to run it with her, and then I had to sort of count out injured. But to be fair play to her, she went and did it by herself. She was like, no, she was like, I signed up, I trained, I'm going to do it. So it's me and her are going to do a doubles in January, hopefully, and sort of see what time we can put down. Should be pretty decent because we're pretty sort of similar, like able-based. I used to do boot camp a lot with her, and we were in sync, like without even trying. We'd just be syncing out burpees, syncing out squats, and it just used to be a running joke that we didn't even try. But yeah, so I'm doing doubles with her. Probably be some more single races in there for Hyrox. I'll probably try and do a Spartan Deca, which is very similar to Hyrox. It's sort of like 10 stations, and then you can either do it just as a strong, which is no stations, a mile, which is 150 metre, I think, running in between the stations, and then your fit, which is 500 metres running. So I'll probably try and do another weekend in Spain, just, as a nice excuse. And then sort of in the off season, because the Hyrox season ends in May, I think the Worlds are in June this year. So if I qualify for the Worlds, then fantastic, I'll be going there. And then the off season, I might dip my toe. I've been looking at triathlons. So potentially in the off season, I might sort of do maybe like a little baby sprint triathlon, see what it's like, and then build up to obviously doing the full Ironman distance. Probably would be the next season after, so I can dedicate my training time to that. And then, as I say, I'm bound to pick up who knows what in between now and then, as gyms will put up events and things, and they say, oh, come and join in this new event, we've never done this before. I'll be there and going, yeah, let's do this. So yeah, we'll always pick up new stuff as and when people message me and go, have you seen this, do you want to do it? And I go, yeah, all right.
So then we've spoken about what events you're planning on doing. What event do you think has been the hardest one for you?
Probably, I don't know, it's tough. I'd maybe say the OCRs that I've done. I used to dabble in them back in, a couple of years ago now it'd be. I did the trifecta, so the Spartan trifecta, so people may or may not have done them. So you can pick between the Spartan distances, so it's 21k, 10k, 5k. You can do one of those, or if you do the trifecta sort of weekend, you do them all. So you do the 21k beast on a Saturday morning, say, and then your beast and your super and your sprint will then be on the Sunday morning and then afternoon. And of course, me being me, a lot of people will just do the super because it's, nice little 10k. You can be competitive at it, but that's decent. But I was like, well, no, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it all in one weekend, and then I get a nice, pretty trifecta medal. So I went off and did that. And the beast, the 21k, I think I just sort of took it probably quite steady, because I'd done that distance running, but not necessarily throwing in your heavy carries, your walls, sort of 10-foot walls, 8-foot walls you've got to get over. You've got your rope climbs, you've got, sort of all that good stuff that Spartan's got. And so I probably went a lot steady, whereas the super, I then sort of became more competitive the day after. And I think because I knew it was a shorter distance, I pushed myself, which probably made it a harder race than it needed to be. I should have just gone, I'll just take it steady and, sort of just complete it. But because I sort of saw people that were in my age group, and I thought, no, if I could just overtake them on the next corner and stay ahead of them, then I'm ahead of them in the leaderboard. So I did that, and then I'd see the next person, I'd go, oh, if I just overtake them as well, then I'm ahead of them. And I mean, you don't always know who's in your age category, so I might have been overtaking people that didn't even sort of matter in the age group leaderboard, but in my head I was like, well, no, I'm gonna overtake them because I can. And then I had that pressure sort of on myself of then staying ahead of them, because I might have overtaken them at an obstacle, but they might be better at running. But then I'd make sure that they didn't overtake me, so I'd push myself harder on the runs, and then to sort of keep myself ahead. So it's kind of my own doing, but I probably made it harder than it had to be, because I got into my own head, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But it did mean I can't remember what category it was. I think I was about 8th, in age group, off the top of my head, which if I hadn't pushed myself, I probably wouldn't. I would have maybe been 20th or something like that. So I probably made it harder for myself, but...
When it comes to training for these things, I know we've already broken down how you'll train for like the Hyrox and stuff, but I think a lot of people get bored of just like going to the gym and stuff. It's not always the most exciting thing for everyone. A lot of people are then tending to go out, do sports, rock climbing, things like that. Like rock climbing's a big one at the moment. A lot of people don't like running in general, so how would you get someone that wants to mix up their workouts up a bit and do one of these events? How would you get them to transition into training for that?
I'd say just starting probably like in slow, sort of slow and steady. So, I mean, we have had people that have come to me and they said, oh, I want to do a Hyrox, how do I get into it? But then they've gone off and tried to do like a whole simulation, having never done a wall ball in their life, having never done, even run 8k before, or sort of things like that, and then they'll come back to me and go, oh no, it was horrific, I'm never doing that. But I'd say to them to sort of start slow and steady. So start off doing just even say like your repeats or something, so just 200 meters, but like sort of set a pace that you can hold. So don't go out and do like 50-second 200 meters for one rep and then go, well, now I'm going to take 2 minutes to do the next one. I'd just say, sort of start steady, start slow, build that engine as well. So even if you, if you quite like a bike or whatever, I mean, I've sat for hours on a sort of a Concept 2 bike or an assault bike and put Netflix on, and I've literally just zone 2'd, for like the entire, like, I think Avatar movie, so 3 hours and something, I was just cycling away. And building all of that, although you sort of sit there and think, why am I doing this? It will actually build that engine, and it builds, especially on the bike, it's leg strength and stuff for your running, which you can then transition over. I mean, I've had times where I've been injured and not been able to run, and I've literally put hours and hours into bikes, sort of as alternatives for, instead of going out and doing my speed intervals and my, sort of repeats and my whatever else I'm doing for running. And it's surprising when I've come back from that injury, I've literally not lost anything, in which I've maybe even gained sometimes. So if you don't particularly like running, I'd say you'll sort of incorporate your bike erg and stuff into that. Whether you want to watch Avatar or not, that's up to you.
Personal preference on the movie.
But yeah, I mean, I'd definitely say do that, and like a part of the stations, again, sort of just don't go out and do 100 wall balls off the cuff, because you're probably not going to like it. Do sort of 5 reps, 10 reps, do a lot lower reps, and even if you do 100 wall balls in a workout, say, but you do them in sets of 5 and go off and do something else and come back and do another set of 5 and then go off, you're still getting that volume in, you're still getting that muscle memory in, you're still getting, sort of your body used to what effectively you're going to be putting it through. But you're not going to essentially kind of put yourself off by doing a whole simulation. It may be taking you 2 hours to do, say, and then you go, I'm not doing that. Sort of, take little bite-sized chunks, and then you can see a progression as well. You can track that progression, because you can say, oh, well, it took me, I don't know, however many minutes to do this many wall balls, and then you can go, well, hang on, well, now I'm doing sets of 10, and now I'm doing sets of 15 comfortably, which I think is also good to track that progress, because then you can see it yourself, your journey, rather than just thinking I've not got anywhere. You actually are getting somewhere, and you can see that in your reps or on paper, which I think helps for accountability sometimes as well for people. So
definitely. What would you say is the main difference then between a beginner and a pro, like with their approach?
What sort of for a Hyrox? Probably, because you've got, because your elite 15 you've got, which are kind of like a whole another level. So they race for like money and stuff. So they're literally, they're squeezing out literal seconds, in between, sort of to try and get that next place up, sort of thing. So they're very much, I suppose, looking at seconds, whereas your beginners are probably looking more at your minute windows to try and kind of take your chunks out, if you like, and it probably is sort of coming down to running, and that's what they're kind of saying now is Hyrox is a running race, because you need to, 8k maybe isn't a lot for like, sort of these triathlons or, sort of ultra runners say, but it's being able to do it when you literally, because I've been there, had that feeling where you just do not want to, everything is screaming at you to just sit down and give up and everything, and you're going, well, no, because like it's only temporary, this pain is temporary, it's only for an hour 10, an hour 20, and then you can sit down in your nice recovery boots, or with a nice glass or something, or you can go and sit by the pool. So you kind of, it's kind of, your pros are looking for literally seconds, your beginners are looking for sort of your minutes, sort of for time wise. But I think everyone approaches it the same way, because a lot of these sort of the pros had come from, they had backgrounds obviously in either CrossFit or running or something. Most of them have done something, or they're full-time athletes. A lot of them are offensively part-time athletes. They've got full-time jobs, so like they'll just be going about their day as like a warehouse delivery person, and then at the weekend they're like winning thousands of dollars at an event, and then they'll go back to Monday to Friday to doing parcel deliveries or something. So I do think that we're the same, if you like. It's just they do have that like next edge to them.
And what do you think's going to be the next phase for you with your training? Like, what's going to get you to the next level?
It's definitely, I think for me, it's still the running. I've worked on my running a lot, and it's come, I think I used to run probably 630 kilometres, which was like, for me at the time was good. And I think my last race I did 440 averages, I think, kilometre pace, which for 2 seasons worth is, well, for me personally, is pretty good. But it's getting maybe towards that 430, the 420 kilometre, being able to hold that, and still keep my station times lower, which will then get me into like the sub 110 and sort of towards that. I don't know if I've got an hour in me. I do not know, but I'm slowly building that time down. I think I went to a 129, I think was my first Hyrox, and then I've got it down to a 116. So I'm definitely going in the right direction. But it's probably running for me. It's sort of doing the compromise running, which is everyone bangs on about these days, to sort of get that done. Because again, it's all very well being able to run a 4-minute kilometre, but then you've then got to push a sled that's 103 kilos for 60 metres, and then you've then got to go and run another kilometre but still hold that same pace. It's like my legs go nah.
Even just running that pace, like without the exercises, is hard enough, let alone adding in all the extra. So yeah, fair play. It does not sound easy. So you said earlier about like your why is just that you can do all this stuff, that's why you do it. What, like, who are you without the fitness side of you? Like, what is there?
To be fair, there's not much. I mean, anyone that knows me is literally just eat, sleep, gym, repeat. And then I do sort of, get some work hours in there as well. But yeah, I'm just always in the gym doing stuff. I mean, before I had the gym and like I did fitness, it was animals. It was just like I did like dog agility and sort of just exploring with the dog. Sort of I'm quite happy just to drive however many hours to a beach, and I'd just be chilling on a beach for just walking for miles, which I'd love to still do now, but I just don't have the time. But yeah, I think without the gym, I don't actually know what I would do, to be honest. I'm sure I'd find something, but that's just a massive part of me. I mean, people have said as well, when I'm injured, I'm the worst person to be around, because if I can't be at the gym, I'm just kind of I don't know, like I just don't function. I just go, well, what am I meant to do? Like, if I'm not at the gym for 3 hours a day, like, what do I do with this time? I do have an off switch. I do chill, but it's generally when I've been to the gym, it's like I'll sit and watch a film, but I'll have done a 2-hour workout before that. So yeah, like I honestly don't know without the gym I'm sure I'd find something to occupy me, but I don't actually know.
What that is yet, we don't know. Because it's just, I feel like a lot of people get so sucked into their thing that when that thing ends, it's like, oh, what happens now?
Well, literally, I think I'll just be sat in the corner just going, what do I do? Like,
yeah, I definitely went through that. When I was in the fire service, like, just training was my life. I was like, there was a point where I was training 3 times a day, and I was like, I love this, like, and that was when I was doing that book I was talking about earlier, the Living with a SEAL.
Yes.
I copied the workouts, but I didn't want to sacrifice my own workouts on top of it, so I was doing that workout, and then I was like, right, what's on my workouts today? Am I going to be functionally fit enough to be a firefighter? And that gave me so much motivation. I was like, my fitness could, like, someone's life could depend on how fit and strong I am. Like, it was as simple as that to me. So I was like, there's no chance that's someone's going to lose their life because I haven't trained hard enough. And then coming out of that, it was like, why do I train now? Like, what's the point? No one's gonna die if I don't do my session today. I'll just not do my session. So that was definitely like difficult for me to come out of, and then that's where these challenges have stepped in. And
I was gonna say, is that where then the challenges kind of would then go, well, that's why I'm training to do that ultra in 4 months' time, or
but I still really struggle with that, because after I left the fire service, like, I broke my ankle in 2020, like, snapped it straight in half, as everyone on the podcast has heard a million times now. But that stopped me doing stuff, and that's where the challenges have, like, come back from, because after breaking my ankle and then not really having much to train for, that's when I got into Olympic lifting as, like, something to do built into that. And then there was still something missing, and I was like, I got into like a pretty low phase for a few years, and then I was like, I gotta do something. But even now, trying to train, like, before I broke my ankle, didn't train for stuff. I just trained generally for that general fitness, and I could just go and do stuff. Now I don't have that fitness from the ankle break and the recovery. Then it's like, well, I can't not train for an event, but I also struggle training for an event.
It's difficult, isn't it?
And there's not that motivation of, like, someone's life depends on this, because it's like, am I going to finish the event? Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Yeah, it is tough. I mean, I do have days because people will say to me like, "How do you like go to the gym every?" You know, I mean, I do have rest days, but like, you know, just the thing, how do you go to the gym every day? And generally, like, I'm pretty good at. I don't know what it is. It's just something in me that just goes, yeah, I've got a workout. Like, I'm just gonna go. I do have the occasional day though where I mean, I had a day, a couple of weeks ago now, and I had a workout sort of done, and I sort of looked at it and was like, I'd had, maybe I had a tough day at work, sort of maybe I'd had loads of things to do, and I was just like, the last thing I want to do is just go and do this workout. And I ended up, I think, just shot a message to a friend who's, sort of lives near me, and I said, oh, look, I'm meant to be doing this. And she's like, well, look, I'll come down with you. She's like, I might not do necessarily your workout, but she's like, I'll come down with you, I'll jump in and out with you, I'll join you. And I was like, yeah, all right, go on then, And sort of, so this workout this evening that I was kind of dreading and going, oh, actually, I really don't want to do this, sort of having that friend there with you, sort of like alongside you, made all the difference, because you can have a bit of laugh in between sets, you can have a joke, and so I think, again, coming back to sort of the gym side of it, is that it's the people as well. So it's because I mean, a lot of people I think do find it difficult, but if they're just by themselves in the gym, to kind of motivate them to do it. But having either like teammates if you're part of a team, or sort of just having a friend that you can kind of call on and go, oh, do you fancy a run? Should we go out and do some trails or whatever? I think is a major part of it for a lot of people, and I have found it, sort of, I do miss a lot of it is solo training that I do now, just because of sort of what I do my coach, but I do quite like sort of jumping in with the CrossFit crew sort of as I do, to kind of get that kind of, it pushes you as well, because I mean at some workouts I might just kind of go, oh well, it's not for time, so I'll just kind of push myself as much as I want to, which might only be 60-70%. If I've got somebody next to me who's also using the same weight, then you kind of silently compete with each other, and you go, well, what rep are you on? What round are you on? Oh, well, I'm on round 6, you're on round 7, right? So then I'll maybe like do a quick, I'll make myself catch up with them to kind of push them forward, and then we kind of push each other, which is nice, which when you're solo you wouldn't necessarily do. I'd just probably get through the workout, you'd still get benefits out of it, but maybe not the potential that you could get out of it. Whereas if you've got someone else pushing you, you then go, well, actually, I'm going to try harder now.
Yeah. And like,
I think that's a massive part of it.
Yeah.
As well.
A lot of the training you do for the events you do is high intensity.
Yeah.
So how do you make yourself train with intensity when you are on your own? Because that's something that I'm pretty sure everyone's going to struggle with.
I think, I've been pretty good. I kind of just do it. A lot of it I do enjoy. So like, I'll just kind of, I'll look, because I'll get sent my workouts like a week in advance, which again, a lot of people might go, oh, like I don't want to do that. But yeah, I'll kind of look at it and go, a lot of it I quite like, or like there'll be parts of it I like. So say there might be, sort of like a thing in a WOD, and there might be like burpees in it, like 10 reps of burpees, but it might be like the third thing in. So I'm sort of in my head, I'll be thinking, well, it's just one more rep, get to the burpees. Oh, I like burpees. Do my burpees, and then carry on doing whatever else. And then it's like, right, one more rep. Oh, I'm back to burpees, So it's kind of, I'll pick out, almost the thing that you like, and then I kind of get through, if I need to, sort of the thing. But yeah, I do quite like, I like kind of the high intensity training. I don't know if I'm just wired different. I just do, but it's more difficult for me to then do like just the strength based or just the zone 2, because I used to be sort of one of these people that if I didn't come out of the gym covered in sweat and like had my heart rate had been through the roof, I didn't feel like I'd had a workout. And I'd look for that every session. But obviously as my sessions got more and I was doing sort of 6 sessions a week, you just cannot withhold that. Like you just well, I suppose some people probably can, but generally you can't. So that is when I learned that actually doing a workout but doing a load of kind of heavy deadlifts, or sort of doing like your dumbbell exercises or your sort of exercise bands, even doing lat pull downs, things like that, you can I was still benefiting a lot out of that, even though I wasn't redlining through the roof and covered in sweat and whatever else. I was like, okay, like actually I don't have to beat myself every single time. but I can still get a workout. And I was like, okay, like, but I do like the high intensity stuff.
It was just mad, like when we were training, I was like resting a lot on some of the exercises, and I was having to do a few reps and then pause and be like, still got 30 seconds with 10 seconds in, right, okay, go again. And I was stopping a lot, and you just weren't. You were just constantly, and I get like our training's very different, but I can just picture you training like that, like constantly, like that's your training.
Oh, people in the gym, like, constantly, like, I mean, a lot of them know what I'm like now, but if I go to like a new gym as like a day pass, like if I'm travelling somewhere or whatever, you know, you got your sort of your generic kind of like muscle people will all be in the like dumbbells with the barbells, all that, and then you've got kind of the other people on like the cable machines, and then there'll just be me like just in the middle, just doing like suicide shuttles into sleds, into wall balls, into, you know, just everything and anything. I'm just doing everything at 100 miles an hour, and you can see them looking at me going, what is she on? Like, you know, can I have some of whatever, like, you know, where did you get your energy from? And I do sort of the more normal sessions, but a lot of my sort of training is that way because of the events I do, I suppose. You know, because you have to. Well, I mean, Hyrox, I think my first one, I was probably pushing 190 beats per minute, I think, on my heart rate for an hour and a half. I mean, I probably wasn't the entire time, but you know, I didn't even know at the time if my body was capable of doing that. I was like, is this it? Is this going to end in an ambulance? But it's kind of, you need to kind of, for doing a race like that, you need to know that your engine's there to be able to do that for that time. So yeah, it's just, I suppose it depends what you're training, you know, because if you trained for an ultra, that's obviously very different because it's you know, it's long, it's heavy, it's, you know, you're going to be there for the best part of a day, whereas my event is done in an hour. You can go home and do what you want after that. So yeah, no, it's definitely depends what you're training for.
Yeah. So thinking about everything we've spoken about today and thinking about just like your life experience in general, what is the one biggest piece of advice you'd give the listener?
That's deep. I probably would say, if anyone's out there thinking about joining a class, whatever class that is, whether it's, you know, rock climbing, whether it's the gym, whether it's yoga, whether it's, you know, anything, I'd say just do it. You know, because I took my time, you know, not joining in with things because I thought, oh, like, you know, they're all going to look at me thinking, oh, she don't know what she's doing, like, you know, she's, you know, and all this. So I'd just say, if anything, if you're doing it because, you know, you're going to be the new person you don't know, I'd just say just do it, get involved. I said that there's always going to be people there that are happy to help you and show you kind of what to do. And I just wish I'd started sooner, sort of thing. So yeah, I'd just say, just get out there, get involved, and just don't worry about what other people think. Just, you know, if you want to do whatever your goal is, I'd say just get after it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, and driving all the way down from Alton to come here, and thanks for the workout. Wasn't saying that at the time, but thank you for doing that. So that's going to be on our YouTube coming out. Probably before the podcast. There's a bit of a trailer, and then podcast release just after. Good luck in all your events, and if people want to keep in touch with you or keep up with what you're doing, where can they find you online?
Instagram's probably the best, so it's at ellen.sinclair.
Amazing. Well, thanks again for coming on, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. If you like this episode, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Spotify and YouTube, and share our content around. It helps more than you can ever imagine. Now, if there's a person in particular that you want to hear from, or a topic that you want us to cover, just drop us a message, let us know in our DMs, and we'll make sure we try and reach out to the relevant people to cover that topic for you. We're always trying to make content that you guys want to listen to. We have just dropped our website. It's adventureathletes.co.uk, and you can go on there to find out the range of different services we offer. So we have sports massage, different training programs, and personal training, both online and in person, that you can sign up to on the website. So make sure you go and check us out at adventureathletes.co.uk.